already get the Smolder Respect ban, as well as the Kai'Sa that's been banned all series, and the Braum from LGD. On the red side is the Zyra, Tristana, and Rumble by IG. We have big picks open.
Lilia open for the first time in this series. The Smolder is gone, but the Lilia makes its way through. glfs had himself a result of best rookie of week 5, the last week of that Rumble stage, and a lot of it is due to his Lilia performance. At the start of summer, he was a player that struggled. He has become a big force for IG. Leona does come through. I'd imagine the Ezreal comes in for Shaoye as well.
Leona good to lock down the Lilia. I'm just still a little shocked that the ban priority is not going to continue there with the Lilia, so giving some big potential to IG. There's that combo we've seen time and time again. A little bit of safety for what we have labeled as a bit of a weak point for LGD, but it's also a situation where LGD, they looked heads up. They were proving us that the Ascend group is just that much better than the Nirvana group. Then we saw the falter. Then we saw what we've seen from LGD time and time again, why they ended up in one of the bottom rungs of that Ascend group. And we're starting to question the real difference in power between these two big Rumble stage groups as the Draven locked in for Odd. He is going bloodthirsty.
IG may change 80 carries, but they will always have a Draven player under their banners. It's going to be the Draven Nautilus kill lane, bot lane. That has not been how IG have won their last 2 games, mind you. Actually, Shaoye and JinJiao in the 2v2 have been doing better in that regard. So LGD, you're playing against, again, a very different style of composition. glfs can bring some extra engage. You can bring that Lilia for the sleep, for the Draven axis to come swinging through as well. Meteor locks in the Nidalee. One of their first games was a win on this champion as well in this series. Mid lane is yet to be picked. Top lane is yet to be picked as well. Wouldn't surprise me to see some hits to those AD mid lane, to see Haichao blind pick his pick on 4, and then see Burdol finally get counter pick of that top lane to stop YSKM getting his ease of access into those top lane matchups here, which have really changed the last 2 games.
I mean, the Gwen is still big, but I'm honestly looking at the Jax as a must ban for LGD. If IG aren't the ones to ban, it is going to be the Cassante. So trying to put Burdol off of some of his comfort picks as well. They've realized that maybe there's something they can play around that top side to make sure they can get on to that promised land we've labeled so clearly for them. Yone is the final ban by LGD on the red side.
I think Nymeara is a good ban here for IG as well. I think Nymeara is one of the better blind pickable top laners for Burdol left, or one of the safer ones, the jack of all trades top laners. I think YSKM really wants something that can take over a side lane. There it is, that's that Nymeara ban 3. So, do we see the Corki? Do we see something like the Zeri? What does Haichao want to lock in? Probably the Corki is the easiest one to lock in. Give that last pick by Burdol so he knows that matchup, and hopefully doesn't have YSKM just running roughshod through his lane. Again, last game he did well in those team fights later on, but he had to claw that game back, and that's not something which LGD really want to put on the table.
I mean, LGD have showed us, and like almost every single one of these games, they just really like the poke comps. I mean, they're just consistently going with these, and Haichao, in spite of their loss last game, had a really incredible performance on the Corki. Just a little bit short of it, but going to be pairing that up with even more of that poke with Meteor on that one. And there's the Yasuo.
Right, so that is, it was a huge answer in the last game to double AD carry. You can't fire your skill shots, your auto attacks through that wind wall. So even without the best setup, it can be a big factor. This time you have the Nautilus, it's a lot easier with the hook and then with the ult. It means your pick comp is actually very, very good. If the hook lands onto Leona before she presses W, she's not tanky enough, you can kill her even that. YSKM goes towards his Jax. I think he's actually 0-2 in summer on this pick, despite it being one of his best picks overall. Burdol doesn't have the Narb, doesn't have the Cassante, locks in the Poppy, so it is going to be a tank, and it is an okay matchup into that Jax. But it is still a bit of a skill matchup, and YSKM just loves those skill matchups.
He absolutely does, and in the past couple of games of the series, he's had Burdol's number time and time again. Big thing is now, though, IG actually have more setup, at least a little bit, for Neny on the last breath combos. But I do really like the Poppy to try to separate some of these pieces from IG in the team fights. You are looking at a composition, though, for LGD that seemingly needs to have a bit of an advantage here going into those big moments.
Those big moments could be all that's left between elimination and qualification. Loser here will next be seen in 2025. And the winner goes on to that first round of LPL playoffs. This is the play-ins for the playoffs, and it doesn't even matter. It's just LPL things. Back in spring, we had something like 10 best-of-5s go the distance, and we're starting things off before they've even begun here in summer.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it already has been. We've gone 5 games. We're on the verge of a reverse sweep. We're on the edge of LGD claiming their first best-of-5 victory in 4 years, claiming their first playoff berth in 4 years. Will they succumb to the 5-year curse, or will IG back down, fall down, and give LGD that spot in that 8th seed in the LPL Gauntlet playoffs? It all comes down to this. Silver Scrapes has sounded in your ears, and the time for competition being decided is now. Game 5 in Shanghai, LGD versus Invictus Gaming. One of these teams is coming away a loser, and one of these teams is coming away a playoff entry. Let's go. He's inspiring the masses here. We're getting everybody into this one.
I love this. You know, we've gone to game 5. We have an Invictus Gaming Draven. Jackalo started that trend and really hasn't finished, depending on which AD carries that. They've always had a Draven player on their roster. But it's not just that for IG. Neny with this Yasuo pick. I think that Neny is a player which has been under a lot of criticism, reasonably so, but I like this Yasuo answering to the double AD carry. YSKM on a skill matchup where maybe he can do a lot of damage, and glfs gets his Lilia as well. There are good things for that team, but on the other side, LGD, they don't have the Shyvana this time. 0-2 without it this series, so maybe Meteor on that Neny can have a little bit more impact and see how this team can try and close out this and try and stop the reverse sweep. They're gonna break the brooms, stop that sweep from happening.
I mean, the biggest thing here is you're getting more consistent poke. We saw the failings last time around was just not being able to time the big Dragon's Descent combo with the big entrances into the fights. I think this is going to give you much more of an option. It goes back to something that was already successful for LGD in this series in particular. We are getting those mirrored starts, though, so a bit of an opposite side focus for both these teams early on in terms of the jungle pathing.
That jungle pathing, very, very important when you have a Nidalee in the game. You want that early access. Level 2 going to be an early hit for JinJiao Shaoye.
Oh, try to go on the other side there. Get a little bit more damage on. Burn his cleanse. Not going to burn his flash just yet, but he has sub 200 health. Going to have to pop those pots.
This is one of the biggest differences between pre-series and now. The 2v2 has actually been going the way of Shaoye and JinJiao more often than not. Getting the cleanse to the flash, sure, but it's also an early recall coming from the Draven because he can't stand in lane. LGD don't even have to blow their ignite on that once. They'll still have that LGD early bot lane advantage. Meteor will leverage off of that to at least get a ward into the enemy jungle. glfs continuing off his clear. Meteor instead going down towards bot side, maybe trying to do a bit of a cheeky play towards this bot side. Maybe catch on his way back to lane. This could be so big brain.
I mean, this has been a huge focus for LGD. They said, we're done with it. We're done letting On have the spotlight. He is forced out of his easy reunion with Vampire. Gonna force glfs coming over here. They have no movement from mid lane either, so this is just a straight up 3v3 that LGD have a bit better poke in. They're gonna miss the Zenith Blade. Oh no, Vampire. He hits the dredge line, and where is your savior now? LGD will lose a little bit more health on the back end here. Gonna go for a dive on IG. IG are already hurting, and now On's gonna flash away, but he might find the cash dance, finding the combos. YSKM comes in too, and now LGD find themselves on the back end of a worse trade.
JinJiao gets aggro with the ignite and doesn't hit his Zenith Blade. He pulls the trigger too early, and that throws the player under the turret. LGD, they almost had a fantastic start down there, but they've just given over that early cash into On. Against all of what was happening in that bot side. LGD, they might just have failed the clutch on this early game as IG take that tower aggro and run away with it. Vampire, yeah, he's had his best moments and he's had his worst moments, and sadly here, this is not towards his upper end of his performance, but this is the next big mistake from him. JinJiao puts the ignite down now, and he takes double tower aggro, and then he misses himself that Zenith Blade as well. JinJiao in a game 5, you must do better than that. That might tell the tale of this bot lane early game.
Veterancy needs to be there. That calling, that at least direction. It needs to be a pole position for you. Not only, as we were talking about for IG on a couple of theirs, but now we will have Dragons coming up, a little bit more presence from Meteor on this bottom side. But this is also a situation where Meteor needs to keep the tempo up in his favor as the Nidalee.
Absolutely. Nidalee needs to get value. We have had so many jokes over this summer about, oh yeah, only Canyon and Tien, or maybe Kanavi can play this pick. He needs to be getting off the ground early with this. Meteor does still have the bot lane push in, and you can see that he does have himself that longsword first back, but it's not like the F sword in terms of the hard trading or something like that, Vamp Scepter, so he doesn't have control over this bot side, despite the fact that LGD didn't get everything they wanted to from that bot side. Meteor is still here, still taking camps away and getting himself onto the board. Can they go for more down here? I don't really think so. Level 4 Nautilus is a really tanky champion. You don't want to give that one the ability to outplay you under the turret. Instead, Meteor will take the camp and get out.
Gonna be getting a nice back off though for himself, as Faded Ashes hadn't been completed just yet for GLFS. A little bit more on the back end of it, but still going to be completing his clear going down towards this bot side. Faded Ashes did get completed by Meteor. GLFS is going to look for maybe a little bit of play on bot side. Does get spotted out on vision as he comes through. Still going to go for it. He's a fast deer and going to look for the swirl seed. Hits it to slow down JinJiao. Can't get the seed in play, and another mistake, and on capitalizes.
So, early lane was going to Shaoye and JinJiao, but things have fallen apart for JinJiao afterwards. GLFS makes its way down towards bot side, and while they have the bot side vision, it's not deep enough, and they pushed up too far to make the most of it. So, early game advantage, going over to IG now. Again, it's fairly small, but it's only 6 minutes into the game, so that means a lot more. Dragon going to go to the side of IG, and Arn has himself an early advantage now on the Draven. You can snowball with this, and it is Arn. Arn is the heart and soul of IG. If Arn is not doing well, IG are not doing well. He gets himself 2 kills, and he gets himself on the board.
Yeah, it's no longer looking at 25, 30 minutes. He's looking to win now, and JinJiao, you cannot go down 3 times in a row like that. He's trying to get around the corner, but swept up by GLFS, and IG have just now, needing to back off a mid lane, found a ton of success in this early game of a game number 5 pivotal moment.
JinJiao, 3 big mistakes. In LGD, we had our worries about their bot lane, but for the most part in this series, the bot lane's been doing well. Now the pressure's on. Now it's that game 5. Now it's trying to break the brooms of the reverse sweep. And LGD, this might be the tail of their split. LGD, they stuck into the Ascension group, and yes, they struggled there, but they still made it there. They still come in as the highest seed coming into today's game 2. But even before that, I was worried about what would happen with this matchup for LGD, because I thought there'd be some weakness in this bot side. I'm glad that there wasn't the case for the most of this series, but now in game 5, might have just reared its head again, and that's going to be a very, very awful omen for LGD fans.
It's a series that was so close in your grasp, now seemingly slipping away, but luckily you have the hands of Meteor there, or the paws rather, I guess, on the Cougar. Meteor going to have a big impact on this one as well. Will be sniffed out here, though, does end up getting the Gromp back. Get a little trade at the last breath in mid lane by Neny, get some damage on the Haichao. This trade's going to be a little bit back and forth, though, as the Rocket Barrage has come back into it. And Neny playing with a bit of a nice edge there in mid lane, as jungle scuffles are aplenty.
You can see now BF sword in for Arn, really, really big break point for that Draven. Means the all-ins are going to be really, really dangerous. Does mean he needs to be really careful here. Hook lands, could be in a lot of trouble. Wave crashing though. Vampire won't look for it. Elsewhere on the map, of course, we did have Grubs go to LGD, Dragon go to IG. Alex to that bottom side pressure. You see that Shaoye, what he's trying to do there is fire the Q at the landing point of the axe, but Arn's managing to dodge out just about here.
Gonna get the engage here as well. They have so much damage. Shaoye, you can't actually get the damage back down because some of the minions are gonna be blocking it now with the Mystic Shots. Does end up sneaking one over there onto On. Not having a lot more mana, though. On can't really press forward. You see some of the damage, though, this BF sword is starting to bring out. It is turning into a 3v3 on bot side in favor of LGD, though.
Yeah, I think, given the fact that there was ult use from Vampire and ignite use from Vampire, that's a winning trade for Shaoye and JinJiao. You didn't have the Solar Flare in from JinJiao just yet, and they didn't use any of their flashes. The barriers are lower cooldown. I think that's a better 2v2 than potentially LGD could have hoped for in that particular moment. Means that IG can't explode through there again, but again, just another time where GLFS is down in bot side at the right time again. Almost there to flip it. This has been such a great series to see how IG have managed to build into it. I thought they might come in today with a bit more momentum than people would expect from the 4th place team from the Nirvana group. I thought that they had some threads to pull, and we have now seen that build up into it. Didn't look like it in the first 2 games, but you can see why they're worthy of some respect here from LGD.
And I'm still just questioning the let-through of the Lilia, right? The comfortability that comes with this champion, the amount of punishment we've seen both of these junglers do on this, not let alone a ton of junglers in the LPL. We'll see if the setup is going to be enough, at least for IG to close this one out here, but we are going to get another contest on this top side of the map as there's another spawn of grubs. LGD already got the first 3 of the game.
So, let's have a think about how the map's going to be set up from this. Ward's put down early from IG, they get there on a good timing. You do have level 6 from JinJiao, just leeches off the XP from that mid-wave. Will Vampire have his ult for this fight coming in? Depends how quickly it happens. 25 seconds should be in the question. Burdol in this top lane matchup been doing fine, but the first kill to YSKM definitely doesn't help in terms of the individual gold. Doesn't have, well, Burdol doesn't have teleport right now, YSKM does, so he'll need to be in a position to cancel that if he does want to be helping his team in that top side and grubs as they come up.
See if that's actually going to be the play call. YSKM did stop his back in the end. He's going to keep contesting that bot lane, but already bringing on and Vampire down to the grubs as IG start this one up. Meteor on the backside will be spotted out, and they know he's here. He just needs to get one.
This is dangerous. You have the flash. You shouldn't be stood here.
Oh, Vampire goes for the flash play, the decisiveness, the last breath, everything falling onto Meteor, and he's turned into a pelt. Neny picks it up, and now you'll get the trade back 3 for 3 in grubs.
Vampire was on a ward. Meteor has flash, and he chooses not to use it. He knows that's coming. That was always dangerous. You didn't have the teleport from Burdol. Knew he was on vision. That is a huge mistake from Meteor, the player who I've come to trust so much for LGD in this summer. It's been his best split in so long. But Meteor may have just thrown a huge advantage again. Much like JinJiao in the early game, over to IG. These are uncharacteristic mistakes, but it's allowing IG to pick up momentum, and then suddenly it's not going to be about LGD mistakes. It's going to be about the lead from IG and their playmaking after this point. You can't afford to give those over for free.
And you're relying on some of this veterancy, mixing with some of the newer talent here, trying to make something happen, and it's the veterans that are falling a little bit short here in a pivotal Game 5. We'll see if they can try to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, though, as LGD are going to be contesting around the bot side. Burdol sniffs out YSKM over his top side turret, and we are getting a collapse right now, at least from the respect that glfs is giving towards this bot lane play that was potentially available for LGD.
So what's the hope here from LGD? Haichao has been losing the early matchup versus the Yasuo in both of the games that we've seen this in the Corki. That's a Zenith Blade. I don't know if they want this.
Yeah, I don't know if they do. Shaoye is the one taking the brunt of damage here. My God! The Whirling Death not going to be enough. The flash does end up coming out. Swirlseed also went a little bit wide there, but IG show their fangs here, and it ain't Meteor. It's the Fang Deer GLFS.
Once again, the Fang Deer thing, the water deer.
It always comes back. It always comes back.
Comes back to the JinJiao looking again. Teleport coming in for Burdol.
All right, maybe this is where LGD turn it around, and Shaoye picking up the kills. Huge. Burdol coming over. Nice combo there. On. He's going down. They're under turret, though. Nobody can get him. The claws, they don't have distance, but you got that 20-foot leap to follow it up. Meteor gets one. Vampire going down to the sun, and JinJiao gets back. LGD, they're back in it.
LGD used the teleport advantage from top lane to force the play into their favor. YSKM will get some alone time with this turret. No teleports there to answer. It's probably going to be a full turret to the side of the Jax, but still, good kills onto the bot lane from LGD and brings them back to parity and gold. For now, problem is you've given the top side advantage over to YSKM. He is on a Jax. It can be caught out of the play by the Poppy in the later game fights. If you use the W well, if you use that ult well, but giving YSKM an individual lead and a full turret first, that is a price to pay for that boss.
That's a huge price. I mean, this has been banned away from him almost every single game. The fact that he gets it through, he's going to have that side lane play. We've seen how good he is in the side lane, but we take a look back at this fight. LGD pulled the trigger.
It's the teleport advantage. Just plain and simple. Just before this, there was the chance that IG could have got that kill onto Shaoye. It was a bit of an overstep beforehand, but still, Burdol coming in, getting himself some impact here on that Poppy, managing to survive out through that turret as well. Last turret shot, not quite aggroing onto him. Means that it does end up being a completely clean play for LGD. Good tower aggro juggling.
Love to see the Keeper's Verdict mechanics coming through there, the instant. As Burdol showing off a little bit of the mechanics Poppy can have, but also a pivotal one in this game of this series. We also saw the Dragon had gotten secured in that picture-in-picture by IG, so they got themselves 2 Dragons stacking here, give themselves some early presence. There is also the Rift Herald up on the table. Both teams a little bit shy of that side of the map right now.
I I think when you're on red side, quite hard to approach that Baron pit. The Herald pit is nasty because that wall kind of cuts you off, especially against the Lilia, the Nautilus with the follow-up from the Jax and the Yasuo as well. You don't always want to do that. So LGD, I don't think they want to go towards this right now. There's a chance that if Neny jumps forwards, you see a bit of a play coming in from JinJiao. He does have that solar flare.
He's going to go for it. Has the shield to stop a lot of damage. The wind wall as well. They have Meteor coming around. Neny just going to go back over there, try to dodge his way out, but Haichao picks up a nice little bit of gold as IG take the Rift Herald on the other side.
This is the right choice. You weren't going to be able to win that Herald fight, I don't think, not with the terrain, and particularly with YSKM coming up there as well, being very, very powerful. So they do get themselves a kill for Haichao, and he'll get himself a turret here on the bot side as well. That is better than what they would have got around that Herald. IG, they still get the Herald. That's still a bonus for them. But now the question is how they'll use that. I haven't seen the chunks on the mid lane turret right now. I don't think it will kill it in one. I don't think it's been taken low enough. So IG, they have that power point, but it won't be quite as easy to get a return on investment out of that one.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll try to save it at least for this next dragon, give themselves a little bit more ease of access there potentially to get a soul point, because then you get that decision-making power over LGD, who need to be proactive, who actually wanted to be stacking up some of these objectives for themselves, and they haven't been able to. You start forcing their hand. As we are on those first item spikes, though, it's going to be a little bit of a point of power here to think about as we're getting into mid lane scuffle galore.
So we do have, of course, Leon Nidalee is a powerful point of combo. The one item, Meteor has a lot of damage, but on the other side, Lilia is about to hit this point of power, which is actually not the one item, but the 1.5 item, because you go towards the Seekers. As soon as you have Flash, Ult, and Seekers, you can run the entire map. You are just such a big threat in terms of your safe engage, so really watch out for glfs, also known as Griffith, as see whether he can take himself a really big trade and a big team fight here.
Has to be very, very careful of how he gets those engages, but can be the big set off of the fireworks for IG. And coming back into this one, IG are using some of this strength YSKM has got in the side lane now. Try to lean up towards this tier 2 up here. LGD don't want anything to do with this. They realize that they haven't necessarily gotten the big advantage they would have wanted early. And I think they're going to be relying on a little bit of a later game. I also want to center a little bit on, who has been a pivotal piece, is on the Draven. Draven does have strength later on, obviously, but it's not going to be at the same potential that we've seen them really index into in this series so far.
It's not almost 2,000 damage a minute smoldered. It's not quite that. But hey, the Draven has got the early advantage. Draven will definitely be a point of power later on. I'm a little bit worried about LGD's backline access. I think if they go hard onto Arn, it can be quite hard to shut out YSKM or glfs from a fight. So IG, if they split their carries apart well and they get them into a point where they can respond to and engage onto another carry, that can be big. That's E hitting onto Shaoye after he's used his... Man, that stuff scares me. He doesn't have a cleanse. He doesn't have that cleanse. He can very much go down to that.
That Dream Dust will get you.
Seeds. That it will. Don't do Dream Dust, kids. Meteor, again, you can't do that. It's dangerous for you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some pamphlets out there. We'll get a advisory club. We'll make sure we get the info out there. Make sure you keep everybody away from Dream Dust. But honestly, both teams have been doing a really good job of keeping the Dream Dust away so far this series. It's been a prime ban so far in almost every game except for this one.
Oh, we did say at the start of the day, Kai'Sa, Lilia, don't want to see him for either team. They're too good at both of these champions. So let's just see them gone. And this time it was, it was the Smolder taken away in Game 5 because they were too afraid of that. They banned they banned away the Kai'Sa, they banned away the Smolder, and they banned away the Braum. They let the Lilia through, and we're yet to see whether they'll be paid off for their for those bans or whether that will turn against them. We get ourselves this dragon coming up in 30 seconds. I think we might see a bigger fight around this. I don't think LGD wanted to let that soul fight go over for free. It's just whether they can get themselves a good angle. Having glfs with a real big point of power. Sadly, doesn't have the Seekers for this fight just yet. Could be so, so huge. Haichao teleporting down. He doesn't have his Muramana just yet either. So it's not prime points of power for either side just yet. LGD, they get themselves towards this dragon. IG, not setting up for it just yet, but they have the Herald in mid lane. So that's their kind of setup already. They get to put that in. It's the counterweight in mid lane.
Distraction card effects, as we all know. Oh, they're going the wide way around. Going to try to split off Shaoye over here as well. Vampire went for the engage underneath that entire moment. I think now you actually have a little bit of a potential here for LGD to fight this one out.
They do, but it's not like they brought up any big ultimates. Meteor needs to be careful. Any hook could lead into that Yasuo ultimate. That could be the game changer. Watch for the Yasuo Nautilus combo. Watch for LGD to see if they can get their carries into the right position.
Oh, Haichao gonna get a decent amount of damage onto Neny. They go for it. JinJiao misses it, though. They go for the Solar Flare. They realize he doesn't have any way out. Neny's gone. Meanwhile, big Keeper's Verdict there at LGD. They just clawed themselves back. It's going to be taken by Haichao here, too, so they stop the stacking. Haichao, he's picking up even more, and a triple kill.
Haichao gets the damage done. LGD take apart the combination of the Nautilus Yasuo before it can even start firing, and that might just be what breaks this momentum from IG. They get themselves the dragon, they stop that soul point, and they will get themselves a lot of gold in pocket. We did see in the last game, Haichao struggled to play against the Yasuo later into the game because of the wind wall, but right here, Neny is just way too far up. He's actually had a good series so far. We've had some worries about Neny before in terms of him roll swapping into the mid lane. Well, he takes the Yasuo, worked out great in the last game, but he's just not on the same page as the rest of his team coming into this one. Great Keeper's Verdict coming in from Burdol as well. He's one of the few Poppy top players in the LPL. Gets a huge teamfight impact out of this fight.
What a fight from LGD and Haichao. I mean, this has felt like a moment that's been coming for a while, and he's just getting paid off now because even last game he was finding some big damage and big moments on the Corki. It's been a consistent moment. He had the incredible game earlier on to the series as well, and see if they can continue to utilize that because Meteor still is going to be a bit worse for wear in a lot of these fights if you can't find the spears.
It's much harder to play the Nidalee than the Lilia, and that's the big thing. For long periods of history, we've said similar things about Lee Sin at points where Lee Sin doesn't always lose the ability to make the huge plays. It's just they're much harder to make. You're not suddenly dealing with people who die to a single combo and you fall off of damage because you don't always go for the assassin build or something like that. Same kind of thing with the Nidalee, right? People get tier 2 boosts, people get move speed items, people get shields and they get to stand behind their team fights in full 5-on-5s. Nidalee doesn't want to be diving into 5 units. They want to be sat there and try to get themselves that combo on the split target, split up the fight and be as much of an assassin as you can be without necessarily throwing yourself to the wolves on the other side. So LGD, can they play that one through? It is a bit of a hard composition to play with that Nidalee. Sometimes the Poppy as well can struggle, but right now, Burdol's actually doing a really good job of dealing with YSKM.
Oh, this is a little bit of trouble. We've seen YSKM have good side lane strength, but now Burdol seemingly has his number. Going to be followed up with Meteor coming through. YSKM just wants the fight itself. He's trying to get it back. Meteor makes the difference here, though. A lot of damage back. YSKM gets caught in the side lane. That's massive, though, as IG need to try to make a play somewhere else.
I don't think they can because Burdol can recall and get himself a teleport. If IG were more on the map, then they could do. But they're just showing the spectator there. Gets the recall, can go back, and we can see Poppy getting huge value here against the Jax Burdol. One of the few players which plays this. Not many people go towards it. Meteor bans the extra damage in, but it only works out because Burdol plays it well enough. He's got the sweeper, he's over the side. He does still have his ultimate if he wants to go for a flash wall stun into a pop-up.
So much standing gold still on the map here as they're going to scoop it up. GLFS gets a really nice time fly, but Vampire, he's in there. He's going down low, but GLFS is going to take up a lot. He goes golden. Lilting Lullaby going to come through. On is already half health. Neny steps up. The bodies cannot hang for IG. They have a little bit of a flank, though. YSKM a bit scared. We've seen him in this position before. He can't find the angle.
Burdol very nearly makes a game-winning play, but GLFS has the reactions to flash out in time. This is exactly what I want out of these teams. Tense moments, execution, flash-on-flash violence, and see whether we can get ourselves a bit of a hand stiff on the execution. These teams are really going to have to show who deserves it based on the mechanics out of this one. See that IG clearing out some of the vision around this Baron. A lot of the teleports now down. Both teleports on top lane are down. That's important that we're getting ourselves back onto the map. LGD should be able to respond, though.
Big importance. GLFS does not have the Seekers anymore. He already broke it. He will just be a lame duck as he tries to get the big setup for the team. They don't have ultimates. They pull off. They tried to get some resources out of LGD, but they didn't.
Yeah, I think Vampire being seen on the side and getting burst out by Shaoye is what ends up forcing that into LGD's favor. You can't really stick around with your support, not really able to combo into that play. Remember, again, this is a Yasuo with very little setup. You have the Nautilus Q and the ult. You also have the stand aside technically on the Draven, but it's a mini knockup, so it's quite hard to combo onto that. If you don't have that Nautilus in the right position, it's very hard to follow up with the right kind of play afterwards. Dragon now spawning in 30 seconds. LGD, they have the position on the bot side. They get themselves clean recalls, and they can start looking for the poke before the objective. They do have the Nidalee with 2 items, and of course, more amount of transformations on Ezreal Corki really, really helps. Especially with the first strike on Haichao, adds in that extra little sting.
The Knights rivals delivering already in what has been, I feel like, a resurgence in the format for LPL. Both these teams giving it all. It's our first matchup of Ascend versus Nirvana, and we were wondering what exactly we would get in all 5 games. Silver scrapes, and now an extremely contested one going 25 minutes in. Dragon is started up by LGD. They will even this one up as well, 2-2 in that score, and we're starting to get little moves from, I guess that's that last game in game number 4 where we saw very heavily contested mid games.
We are, and I think the problem for IG this time is that they don't have overwhelming scaling advantage. They don't have the Smolder, which can hide behind the wind wall and do ridiculous amounts of damage while the other AD carries can't fire the auto attacks through this spacing ability from Yasuo. It's been driving AD carries insane all the way since 2013. This game now, I really want to focus on Haichao. One of those AD carries just picked up that Guardian's Angel. Very, very important item versus the likes of the Lilia and the huge combo coming in potentially from the Nautilus Yasuo. Yasuo sucks into Guardian Angels because he wants to kill people in the duration of that. Burdol needs to be a little bit careful of that too. Didn't have that flash, but it means that you can kind of nullify the one big impact which the Yasuo can have, and Yasuo is not going to be a consistent damage dealer. It can be a bit of an issue, so we'll see whether Haichao can buy himself a good fight with this item.
Haichao very strong, but maybe lacking a little bit of that extra oomph with that third item, being a little bit more defensive as well. Also check in for IG fans. GLFS, he has the Zanyas now. He's going to have the big combos. He's going to be okay.
It's a big thing.
It is a big thing. You also got the secrets complete for Meteor. Oh, there's just a little bit of puppy up here. YSKM, he's looking for the angle. Neny has come up here. Haichao's just maybe gone to his doom. He's got the GA. Is it going to be popped early? He will end up burning the flash to save that one.
Oh my gosh, Valkyrie's in top portion as the Yasuo there. He has to get himself a quick recall potentially. No, he'll be able to get some lifesteal actually, I think just off of that red buff. He'll get that one as well. So, swing and a miss from IG in terms of the big play. If they'd killed Haichao, that would have been absolutely huge. Even at the end of that, though, he has that GA. It's much harder to get that kill. Burdol pushed in towards this bot side. Doesn't have 6 grubs, but he has a demolish and he has 3. That'll be enough to get some good damage down here on the bot side with the help of the cannon minion. LGD survive the cross map and they get themselves good turret damage.
We're really starting to see some of the poke come alive for LGD. They also pick up some more of that side lane gold as well. That's going to be big. Haichao did burn his flash there. And you'll see IG trying to go for an engage in the end. Someone Flare is still up and available, ready to go if they want to try to go for an engage. And that's the biggest thing for On to be careful of. He has cleanse, he has flash, but his positioning is so important in these fights.
Much harder for him to deal damage than he has been on previous AD carries. LGD now go towards the Baron. The terrain isn't great for them. IG can pin them against that wall. That is not where they want to be. Shaoye, good burst hit.
Really good damage there. And also, IG are a little bit back on the item completions here. Oh, YSKM, is this it? He goes in. He's tried this time and time again. It's gone a little bit wide. Lilting Lullaby initiated. That's the go button. You got to follow up. There's the Whirling Death coming in. They can't get it now. And here comes the onslaught from LGD. They're poking him down. They're going to take down Neny. And that's one piece to the puzzle. LGD from the brink of a reverse sweep. They're cracking those brooms in that Meteor. He's going to go golden. Vampire is getting low. And the sunset is getting nigh for IG as LGD. They're pushing for the end. It's been 4 long years, Nymeara. Is this finally it?
LGD in our first best of 5 of the split will take it to 5, but they will not be reverse swept.
They are taking the Nexus turret. There's only one thing left. And after those long years, LGD will be our 8th seed in the LPL playoffs.
LGD, welcome back to playoffs. They break the brooms. There will be no reverse sweep, and Invictus Gaming, we will say goodbye to them in 5 games. I think it is absolutely fair to say valiant effort. Given that they were the 4th team out of Nirvana, they gave us a lot to be proud of from this team. This team has gone beyond expectations. Invictus Gaming, they changed rosters so many times over the last couple of years, and I think they've gained a lot of fans with a couple of their big players, YSKM and Arn particularly. These players have really stood out. I feel so sorry for some of these players in the way that they've carried this team, but they were second best today. LGD, they came in as the highest seed from Ascension Group, and they have proven that they did deserve that berth within this Knights rival stage. First time we're seeing this as part of the LPL format. This is great. This is entertaining. More best of fives is always good for me, and I love that we're starting things off with these tense, brutal best of five games.
Only 3 may be knighted in the Knights rivals, and we see IG were not enough. It is an LGD who rise to the occasion after all that time. It wasn't easy. You can see some of the distraught looks on their faces, some of the shakes of the head, but it is LGD.